Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a very interesting knife review / knife overview to show with you guys. This is the DLT Trading exclusive Spyderco Tuff in crew wear, which is really cool. I think that complements this design well. I have never handled the original. This is the first time, that I've ever experienced this knife, and this is a dealer exclusive version of it. At the time of this recording, which honestly, you guys are probably seeing this 2 weeks in the future, you can still buy this knife. So I will link this right down below for those of you who want to go check this out. It should still be available. Thank you very much to James for sending this in for review. Thank you very much to my generous patrons who are supporting me right now. There's a link for Patreon right down below. And please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. Let's go ahead and get a measurement of this guy. This is a big knife. Overall length of the Spyderco Tuff, 8.85 inches overall by the measurement I've got here. Blade length, let's make sure that that's right. 8.8 overall. Blade length, 3.75 inches. Cutting edge, 3 inches, thanks to a massively generous forward choil. But the ratios! Some people care, some people don't. I'm one of the people, I just don't care as much. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons here up against the Ontario Rat Model 1 and Rat Model 2. So you can see here, yeah, this is a big knife. Big, with the Rat 1 coming in at 8.6 inches overall. How about up against the Spyderco PM2? This will be an interesting comparison with all the Spydercos. PM2 and Para 3. So there you go. If you own one of these knives, that's how big the Tuff is. Big. And last but not least, the Benchmade Reptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue. And its little, well, in this case, it's a new little brother, the Benchmade Bug Out. Yeah. Big. How about the blade stock thickness and just overall thickness of this knife, right? Let's put it up against the Ritter Hogue here. Yeah, it's pretty, like the handle scales aren't massively thick, but the blade is definitely. Let's actually do carry profile this way up against the Para 3. So you can see here, like the knife is big and it's thick. It's mainly the blade. The handle scales are a little thicker than the Para 3, not insane. Now this way though, this is where it's going to create a problem for some people. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. It is definitely taller than both. Absolutely no question about it. This is taller and it's consistently tall, right? It's also longer. So longer, thicker, taller, heavier. Big knife, definitely. Blade stock thickness, let's go ahead and measure it. My guess is that that's at least 165 thousandths. Let's find out. Oh no, it's a little bit less. Wow, why does it look so thick? 155. So this is the same thickness as the ZT0562. Perhaps it's just the size of the blade, right? Let's go ahead and do a hardboard check. We'll get out my tools. As per usual, tools, very inexpensive, very recommendable. You can find them right down in the description, the section that says my tools. Let's try a T8. It might be a T. Yeah, this is going to be a T10. Sorry. Haven't checked it. That's great though. T10. It looks like we might get lucky. It might be T10 or T10 and T8 across the board. Yeah, T10 pivot. The body screws are going to be T8. I should have just checked the body screws while I had the T8 bit out there. But yeah, that's what I like to see. A nice big pivot and at least T8 hardware. We have T6 screws on the pocket clip, but okay, right? Just a couple holding in the back spacer. That's great. Titanium frame lock, not going to be difficult to take apart. So fantastic. Let's take a look at the inside here real quick. So we have a combination of titanium. Then we have steel. Yes, this is a steel liner on this side. And G10, is the titanium milled out? No. No, it isn't. But I don't know. I mean, would that have helped on this knife? Maybe a little bit, but does it need to be? I don't know, not really, right? And then we have a big old thick piece of crew wear. Weight. This has got to weigh 6. I'm going to say it weighs 6 ounces. 6.5 ounces. Big, thick knife. This is right at the tippy top for weight. What my carry preferences, right? For a lot of people, this is simply way too big. I'd say most people probably carry something around a 3 to 4 ounce knife is probably pretty consistent. Like that's a good comfort zone for a lot of people. So this is going to be way out of the comfort zone. It's also going to be too big for some people's preferences and by law in your area, right? So consider all of that. That's the first thing you should consider is this going to, if I'm going to actually planning to carry it and use it, is it going to be comfortable? I think we can go ahead and progress here. So yeah, this is a weird looking Spyderco. It definitely looks like a pelican. Spyderco knives always look like birds. Like they all look like birds to me. This looks like a pelican. It absolutely 100% does. It is a goofball of a knife. But you know what? If you're interested in Spyderco knives, you're probably kind of attracted to the weirdness and almost in a random way, right? When you look through Spyderco knives, you're just expecting everything to be so... They all look like Spydercos, but they're all different, right? Like people who say Spyderco knives all look the same, I'm like, have you looked through that? Have you gone and sorted by brand and looked through Spyderco knives? The only thing that's similar is that they all use the hole. But everything else is pretty wildly different between, this is a great example. This is just a freaking crazy Spyderco. This is Taichung, Taiwan. Those of you who know, yeah, Spyderco's Taichung, Taiwan factory probably does their best work. Yes, quality control is even better than the American ones, in my opinion. And that's coming from somebody who owns many American Spydercos. They do a great job, and it's showing through here. This is nice. Everything. The action feels nice and smooth. And by the way, this is running on phosphor bronze. This is a nice, smooth phosphor bronze action. Now, you're not going to get, for the most part, not going to get a fall shut action, but it's just the consistency, the smoothness here is great. You can easily do your thumb flick, right, or your reverse flick, anything you want to do. Disengagement's also easy. That big choil keeps this very large and very sharp blade from slamming down on your finger. You can easily catch it right there and then close it. It's actually pretty easy to manipulate, and that's thanks to the liner lock being raised, or the lock bar being raised ever so slightly above the show side scale. This is a titanium frame lock, which we don't see nearly as often with Spyderco, but they definitely do exist. And it does add to the price here. Taichung manufacturing is definitely not the same as Chinese manufacturing. A lot of people, they understand that they're two different areas and they view them differently. But I think a lot of people automatically assume that because it is not the USA, that it should not cost as much as US Spydercos. Now, manufacturing in Taiwan definitely is I don't know if it's more or less, but it's definitely more expensive than China, right? So, I don't know though that's a good way to judge it. Believe me, we're going to talk about the price. I know you guys want me to talk about the price. We're going to talk about it. Peel Ply Texture G10 looks good. The blade, in this case, I think is awesome. That coating is awesome. Gosh, that looks good. It's like a slightly reflective black coating that, when your finger oil gets all over it, it's a lot like the Stonewash DLC that I've got on my Hinder. It almost has this bronzy hue to it, and it looks really, really, I just love how it looks. In combination with this OD green and the titanium, the entire knife looks tough, and let me tell you, it is built that way. This is a titanium frame lock on huge phosphor bronze washers with a thick chunk of crew wear, the blade geometry suggest, and the ergonomic lines all suggest like this is really a knife that you can actually take out and beat on, and it's gonna get you through that stuff. This is absolutely a tough knife. Ergonomically, pocket clip, it's a Spyderco clip. It's gonna kind of get in your way. If you're wondering what that sticker is that came on it brand new, I imagine it's just to keep until you're ready to take it off. Keep the clip from grinding against the titanium. That way, if you want to go ahead and switch it, like if you really want to carry this knife tip down, which is fine because this doesn't have a flipper tab. I've talked about that many times. Then you can do that without there being a nasty mark from where it's been rubbing, right? That way you can enjoy that. So I think that's nice that they did that. But anyway, ergonomically, if it wasn't for the pocket clip, it would feel really good. This position back here, you're quite a ways from the cutting edge, of course, but yeah, you can choke back on it. Choking up is also plenty comfortable. There's a nice ramp right here, or you can set your thumb up here. It's comfortable. It's big and kind of blocky, but fortunately they knocked these lines down all the way around. So yeah, it's comfortable. I mean, it's not a knife you're going to drop very easily. Combination of the lines and the peel ply texturing, yeah, you're pretty locked in no matter where you hold it. So, I mean, as like a working knife, yeah, for sure. Blade, super cool. Very unique blade. Has that nice, of course, the Spyderco opening hole, which is very easy to manipulate. And we have this long fuller that runs all the way out here and makes the end of the blade look really neat. Look how robust the end of this blade is. Yeah, that thick at the tip in crew wear, it's going to be pretty difficult to fatally damage this thing. The cutting edge is definitely thick behind the edge. There's not a lot of room to drop, and you're starting pretty thick at 155 thousandths. Will it slice? Well, yeah, of course it will, right? It'll slice just fine. It's just not going to be a laser beam. This is going to be more of a pound it through the material, right? I mean, you can still cut with it, right? You're going to be pushing a big, thick wedge through the material, and you're also going to be working against this fuller, right? And the thickness up here on the flat. So yeah, but the blade does look good, and the quality, you know, on both sides is excellent, exactly what you'd expect from Taichung Taiwan. It looks good. Happy with it. Pivot is interesting. It's a little different. Normally they just use like a screw, but they did something different here, and that's fine. It's, you know, it's got a Torx head, so I don't have a problem with that. There's a lanyard hole for the lanyard people. This backspacer, I believe, is G10. Let me get the flashlight on it to see if we can see the little fibers. Yeah, it looks like G10 to me. Can you guys see? Yeah, looks like G10. Nice and flush. Fit and finish, just great. I mean, it's just, I like, sometimes I get hung up and I'm like, oh, the fit and finish is so, like, it's what you'd expect from Taichung Taiwan. It's really good. The pocket clip, they did this weird thing with it, you know, they put it around the lanyard. Spyderco needs a new way to do this. Take a note from some of these other companies like they're putting like the lanyard bar thing back here, and it works just fine. And then we can have a different clip that carries a little bit deeper. There's quite a bit of this knife sticking up out of your pocket, right? This is an outdoor work knife, so you might not care as much, but for those of you who are going to EDC it in khakis for whatever reason, or slacks, it's going to be a bit weird. You got a big chunk of knife hanging out of your pocket. And I mean, like, seriously. It's not that it carries shallow. There's just a lot of width here initially. So, and the pocket clip itself, this used to be one of my favorite clips. And anymore, after handling so many knives with better clips, it's just kind of, it's kind of a C- clip, you know? But okay. This has a lock bar insert, and I was really surprised by that, but then I was reminded that there are a few Spydercos out there that are titanium frame locks that also have the insert, like the Domino and some others, right? But that's cool that it does actually have a steel lock bar insert doubling as the over travel stop. No stick, easy disengagement, and are we centered? Yes, we are. How's the lockout? Look at the freaking stop pin on that. It's huge. Yeah, it's absolutely, this knife isn't going anywhere. This thing is so solid. This is a purpose-built Spyderco knife. Very, very purpose-built. Ergonomically, I mean, they were not like, hey guys, how do we put together the most beautiful looking thing? No, every inch of this knife is purpose-built. It is, I'll say it, in my opinion, this is ugly as as ugly as it gets for Spyderco. Well, you know, actually no. The matriarch is the ugliest thing I've ever seen. The matriarch, the all black serrated matriarch with the FRN scales and the unicorn horn or Emerson wave is the ugliest thing I've ever seen from Spyderco. But it's interesting. This is definitely an ugly knife, but it's an ugly knife that is purpose built. It's not sitting here going, what do you think of me? Aren't I pretty? No, it's sitting here going, I don't care. I don't care what you think. I'm ready to work, right? Like that's what it looks like to me. It looks like it's ready to go to work, and it's built that way, right? I can't really argue with the lines. It's definitely thick behind the edge. And it's a big knife. It's a big, heavy knife, right? Pocket clip, bleh. Outside of that, I'm not going to argue with the design. Like, I get it. It's built for work, right? Definitely not going to appeal to everybody because of that. It's also really expensive, $315. Now, I kind of padded the whole, I padded that by emphasizing the quality that we're getting from Taichung, Taiwan, and the fact that Taiwan manufacturing is not necessarily cheap. In fact, I don't think it is at all. I think it's fairly expensive. This is a nice, high-quality outdoor working tool that will 100% stand the test of time. And if you're using it as a knife and perhaps a little bit beyond that, I think it'll shrug off quite a bit of abuse. Is it a $315 knife? Ooh. Listen, guys, I have an affiliate program with DLT Trading, and this knife is in stock. So I stand to benefit by telling you guys to rush out and buy this, right? Keep that in mind. I don't think this knife is for everybody. It's pretty easy to say. Honestly, I'm not going to dance around that. I don't understand why this knife is $315. Initially, the first thing that I want to tell you guys, I can't recommend this knife on the price. I think $250 to $270 makes a lot more sense. $315 just feels like, why? But it is going to be, on top of that, too big, too heavy, too bulky, and too over the top for most people. If you're somebody who requires a specific level of durability and capability from your cutting tool, and you are outside, beating on your tools all the time, right? This is going to work for you, right? If you look at that price tag and go, yeah, I don't care. I just want to make sure that it's built well and that the materials are appropriate. Yeah, everything here is appropriate for what it was designed for. The crew wear, very tough. By the way, we didn't talk about crew wear for those of you who don't know. Not a stainless steel, but oh my goodness, is it good. It has a little bit of stain resistance in it. It's not like 3V or Maximate, but it's coated here, so that's going to add additional protection. The edge retention is pretty good, and it's very tough. And it's also not going to be a huge issue to sharpen. And this particular edge is nice. It's just a continuous, it's straight and then rounded at the end. Yeah, crew wear is excellent. You're going to find that if you don't know anything about crew wear, it's applauded as a super steel and just as a steel in general for use. This is a very, very purposeful composition, and I think it's right at home on something like the Spyderco Tuff. This is kind of like Spyderco's Adamas, which is also, that's a Benchmade knife, also now in crew wear. It makes a lot of sense to me. And I gotta admit, I am oddly drawn to this. It's so funny because it's such a bulky Spyderco. It's such a tanky Spyderco, It's like, if Spyderco and ZT came, no, it's like if Spyderco and Medford collaborated. That's what this feels. That's honestly what this feels like, is if Spyderco and Medford were like, let's make a knife together, right? This is cool. You're going to have to choke down that price, and you're going to have to choke down the dimensions, how heavy it is. And if you're big into ratios, right? If you're like, hey, the closer it is to 1-to-1, ratios between handle and blade or handle and cutting edge, the better. No. And this makes the PM2 look like a formula razor. Look at this. The ratios between the blade and the handle on the PM2, and then look at this guy, right? I don't care about ratios. I'm just pointing that out, right? So, Spyderco Tuff, is it going to jump to my recommended knives playlist? No, there's too many things that are going to hold it back. And it's just really, oddly expensive. But it is cool, and there is a novelty draw to this. So if you're interested in it, right, and you like what I said about it, you like the positive things, then sure. But, again, if you're kind of on the fence, I would say, $315, there's a lot of stuff out there, right? So make your own decision. It'll be linked down there for you guys to do that, right? That's going to be pretty much it for today's review of the Spyderco Tuff. This was a fun one. I really enjoyed this knife. Some knives are just more fun to review than others, and the Spyderco Tuff is a fun one. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.